50.
Just to remind everybody that we've got a third winter event run by the Kart Championship. That's going ahead at Three Sisters across in the northwest of England, just outside of Wigan. And get your entries in pretty quickly. You'll need to get your entries in next week for that. You don't want to be left out in the cold, quite literally. You want to be karting in the cold, as it's going to be in the very early part of December. And I would suggest the sooner the better that you get your entries in and guarantee yourself a place on the grid, especially if you are a junior Rotax driver. Remember, we've got the junior Rotax grid and we've also got the junior Rotax Primo for everybody.
Just quickly,
that's
Noah Clare walking back in after his incident. Great to see that he's managing to walk in under his own power there for Noah Clare after what was a big incident in the early part of that Honda Cadet race. So great to see that he appears to be okay.
If you enjoyed the Honda Cadet final, you're going to love the Rotax Micromax Cadet final as well. Alfie Garrett is the driver that starts on the pole position with the Scottish champion carrying the S-plate, Lewis Kirkcaldy, alongside him. Second row of the grid, I should say, Harris Barber and Ethan Lloyd, with local drivers sharing row 3, Freddie Blackshaw and Sebastian Crawford. Got Carter Jackson and Hamish Gordon on row 4. Newcomer to the class, Micromax class, it'll be more familiar to the Bambino runners in the Kart Championship. Noah Wicklow moving up into this bracket. Zach Andrew alongside on row 5. And then the 12 kart field rounded off by Max Armit and Freddie Walker.
We've got a driver off in the middle of the straight, and he's managed to drag his own kart back on, because if the marshals help him, he's out. But he's managed to get out of his kart and drag it back on.
Do you know who that is?
Trying to figure out who it is. We'll figure it out in a few moments' time. It's all black. I think that could be Sebastian Crawford. Well, I'm not sure. There's another driver in all black as they come into the tram lines to start this race.
Yeah, we've got a false start flag, though.
Oh, yeah, we do.
So that is a false start.
Right,
Dan Ashton didn't like that. Who is it?
It's not Crawford, that's for sure. I've seen him come through. In a moment, you'll see a driver arrive in P12 on the timing screen in the top right-hand corner, and the driver that was off was Max Armit.
So he will have time, I would think, David, to catch this grid. Doesn't look like he is at the moment. Once they start slowing down, certainly when they get to the horseshoe part of the track, they'll start slowing down, form up a nice grid. Hopefully they'll get their acceleration point right for Dan Ashton, our race director. He's a stickler for acceleration points, is Dan, rightly so, as the field now begins to slow up into the gasworks, as we've got Max beginning to join up on the back.
That's a super shot. There's your field in the background, and there's Max trying to close back up.
Yeah, and he's doing a great job, and I think he will close up by the time they come through. He's going to be right on the back of this field as they come through and to take the start. Here they go then. They are just coming out the final turn. Max Armit pretty much with them as they do so. Let's see if they can accelerate the right amount this time, and we go racing indeed. We've got a race start, and round the outside, David, who was that?
That's Kirkcaldy trying to go all the way around the outside.
It's the 42.
Ethan Lloyd in the 66. You know, Garrett was on pole position on the inside. Kirkcaldy tried to stick him out. Ethan Lloyd's wide and up onto the rumble strip. As Kirkcaldy goes for the lead, he's under pressure from the 12 of Harris Barber. And in fourth place, it looks like it's been a good start by Freddie Blackshaw.
Harris Barber down the inside of Lewis Kirkcaldy, but Kirkcaldy just sits there. A little bit of an inadvertent lunge there. That's disadvantaged Kirkcaldy. That might have caught the attention of people who need to know that sort of thing. We'll see how that transpires. Harris Barber, though, second place now. The green and white Tony kart there of Harris Barber chasing down Alfie Garrett. We had a rehearsal of this in the Superheat, and we're back here doing it again with Harris Barber and Alfie Garrett duking it out at the front, but not that far away. Lewis Kirkcaldy, and who's that? That's Freddie Blackshaw, isn't it, on the ST Racing, the yellow and blue kart there, in fourth place, and having a look at third even. Freddie knows this place like the back of his hand, and he really has come on. He was struggling in the early part of the year, but now he looks very much at home on this Micromax.
Certainly does. He's under pressure, though, from Ethan Head as his momentum is balked slightly by Kirkcaldy and Harris Barber taking differing lines through sector number 1. at the front. It's allowing Alfie Garrett to move away. Behind these two, Sebastian Crawford and Hamish Gordon are there as well. We've pretty much got a top 7 in a line. There's the 75 of Hamish Gordon. But we are starting to fragment into groups of 2.
Yeah, Alfie Garrett's pulled a bit of a gap because Harris Barber has got the ever-present Lewis Kirkcaldy right there on his bumper, not affecting his driving. And if these two can stop maybe having a bash at each other, they're going to catch the leader. And as I say that, they've literally closed that gap at the final turn. One turn it took, that's all.
Yeah, Garrett
first, second and third.
Garrett was offline round the horseshoe and basically took, and then he's offline again round number turn 1, and that's allowed Harris Barber to capitalise on the uncharacteristic mistake of Alfie Garrett, and Harris Barber leads.
Very rare to see these drivers. Yeah, that is the number 66.
Oh, sorry, Ethan Lloyd,
66 of Ethan Lloyd there, having a little bit of a grassy excursion. Meanwhile, it's not affecting this lead battle as Harris Barber has made that move stick, and he's in the lead of this race. Alfie Garrett, though, a bit of uncharacteristic problem there, as finding himself completely offline, completely destabilising his lap time there. And here he comes out of the gasworks now, and he's got Lewis Kirkcaldy absolutely all over him. Let's see if he can keep it on the correct and optimum line through this final turn. Kirkcaldy's coming, though, and not that far behind as the yellow and blue kart of Freddie Blackshaw.
I don't know whether it's a tyre pressure issue for Alfie Garrett, but that kart has been handling like a pig on roller skates for the last 2 laps. Can he get a hold of it? Because he's been struggling to hit apexes. It's what allowed Harris Barber to get through. It allowed Lewis Kirkcaldy to draw alongside a few corners ago. Can he get hold of that 42? Particularly as we now enter effectively the same length of race that what the superheat was, with 9 minutes to go.
Yeah, here we go then. Harris Barber comfortable in that lead. Alfie Garrett not so comfortable in that second place. Alfie Garrett in the green helmet there, and then the red and white helmet of Lewis Kirkcaldy on the S-plate there. You can see as they come out of the gasworks. Freddie Blackshaw doing all he can to hang on to the top 3, and as they've done for lap after lap through the horseshoe, they've concertinaed back up, and if anything, Alfie Garrett looks like he's in a challenging position this time down the straight into turn 1. Not much of a speed difference through turn 1, and Garrett hangs on to that as his tyres come on, because he had lots of grip there.
Certainly has, Alfie Garrett. It's been a troubled few laps for Garrett, but it looks like he's taken a few deep breaths, pressed the reset button as Harris Barber goes wide. He did very well to get that back on before the grass arrived.
Harris Barber's now got the slippery kart script in his hand, as we've got a change for third, only momentarily though. As can he make it stick? Side by side, Freddie Blackshaw round the outside of the Scottish champion. Very brave indeed.
Brave move from Blackshaw there, required Lewis Kirkcaldy to comply somewhat as well, but Blackshaw all the way around the outside as he made the move into Senna 1. Kirkcaldy came back at him at Senna 2. Blackshaw, though, up into third place.
Third place and a podium position, remember. First, second, third, fourth and fifth will get presentations as we've got a change going into turn 1, and that was another brave move by Alfie Garrett. Harris Barber ran out of time to defend that, and these two swapping positions, that's allowed both Blackshaw, Kirkcaldy, and now Sebastian Crawford getting involved in that. The orange and white helmet at the back of that field, is that Ethan Lloyd as well coming into play?
It is Ethan Lloyd in the mix as we've got a change for the lead once again. Harris Barber slides down the inside of Alfie Garrett into Senna 1 as Garrett went slightly wide round St John's, which is probably the hardest corner for me on this track to get right. You can do it, but you've got to be quick and you've got to be smooth round there as Barber takes the defensive line. Up into fourth place goes Sebastian Crawford. That allows Ethan Lloyd through as well, and Freddie Blackshaw has dropped from third down into sixth.
Wow, it's not over yet. Can you believe we are just about on half distance? So we've got a full 6 minutes of this to keep in contention with. Harris Barber back in the lead. Alfie Garrett showed his cards and got alongside on the previous lap. Not so much this time there as they head towards the left-hander. St John's, and down the inside has gone Kirkcaldy, the S-plate Kirkcaldy, and Crawford's gone with him. Sebastian Crawford on the number 16, the black and white Origin kart, through and into third place. So all change again, David.
All change, but Sebastian Crawford, unbeknown to him, I don't think is riding now with a 3-second penalty, a tramline infringement. 2 wheels outside of the tram lines when the lights went out. Sees Sebastian Crawford incur the wrath of the stewards.
Oh, and that's a disappointing penalty there for Seb Crawford to soak up there. He's in a fine 3rd place. He's been in Micromax pretty much the whole of this year, in the Kart Championship, in the UKC and other championships. He defends that 3rd place from Alfie Garrett through turn 1. The Northeast driver now with the Origin team as they come through the dogleg, and he maintains that 3rd place. Of course, he's got a 3-second penalty that in Micromax karting that will put you down outside the top 10, I think.
Yeah, it certainly will. It'll definitely take him out of contention for a trophy.
Down
the
to
top
7th, I think.
6 on screen. So as he goes slightly wide, I thought Alfie Garrett was going to nose down the inside in the 42. Garrett in 4th place there in the helmet with the predominantly green background on it. As we see the back of the helmets, it's Ethan Lloyd behind him in the second of the 2 RCE karts in this train.
Remember, Alfie Garrett started on the pole. He begins to come back through. He's ahead of, that was Sebastian Crawford, sliding wide around the horseshoe, finding himself completely offline. Maybe, as the sun is dropping low, we may be getting a bit of a different track temperature here. I'm not saying it's a bit early for a bit of evening dew to appear, but that was certainly an offline excursion there. The number 42 back up to 3rd place. Spaced out the front though, David. Harris Barber, Lewis Kirkcaldy, and now Alfie Garrett back. And Alfie Garrett, not that long ago, was in the lead of this race.
I am looking at the digital flag right in front of the commentary box that says the number 12, the race leader, is under investigation. I've no idea what for. He's just got to get his head down and try and win this race on track and hope nothing further comes off it. But your race leader, his race lead at the moment, a potential victory in danger for Harris Barber.
Still a long time to go as well, over 3 minutes, almost 3.5 minutes as they come out of the final turn. Lewis Kirkcaldy, fastest lap of the race last time by, with a 57.27, absolutely on it now, mid-race, getting towards the final quarter of this 12-minute super final as we get through the dogleg. Harris Barber looking comfortable though. He's not being perturbed. Lewis Kirkcaldy equally as comfortable, and Alfie Garrett. I just get the feeling, David, that as we progress towards and inside this final 3 minutes, these three are going to close up, and it's still I wouldn't put money on any of these.
Oh, well, I'd spread. I'd just put a bit on all of them.
Yeah, of course you would.
I'd put a bit on Ethan Lloyd as well in 4th place. He's coming back into this one. Let's not discount the driver there on the orange helmet. He looks super, super quick on the brakes as he goes round the gasworks hairpin. I'd expect to see him close up on Alfie Garrett this lap as Harris Barber, Lewis Kirkcaldy, and Kirkcaldy's got a good run out of Paddock Bend. Harris Barber, I think, acknowledges the...
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Well, he's disappointed with something. I think he's acknowledging the overhead gantry that says he's got a penalty, and he's just left the door wide open.
Well, I've not seen any penalty appear.
Well, the investigation,
on the official screen. He may have seen that. He was kind of, whether or not that's a problem with his kart, coming off the final turn there, because he completely lost straight line speed. That's allowed Kirkcaldy and Garrett to come through. However, he's picked up the pace again, and he's held off Ethan Lloyd on the 66 there, the orange helmeted driver there, the 4th kart in that train. We're talking about the green and white kart there and the green and white overalls of Harris Barber, who started this race in the lead, and now he finds himself in 3rd. And now we've got the Scottish champion, Lewis Kirkcaldy, back in the lead of this race, and he will lead across the line to complete 11 laps.
Still a minute and a half or so on the clock. Lap times are 57, and again, Harris Barber. He's got no straight line speed at all, Joe, at the end of the straight. I'm sure he's got a problem because he's just coming down. That's the second time now he's took his hand off the wheel.
Really?
No, Harris Barber in the 12.
Right.
He's been overtaken for 3rd place by Ethan Lloyd, who you can see with the yellow helmet. But here are your 2 leaders heading up towards centre 1.
He's got a problem with his power, hasn't he?
Absolutely. And
I thought you were talking about Kirkcaldy there, because you were describing exactly what was happening with Garrett as he just sailed past Kirkcaldy.
Yeah,
but of course that was all about momentum.
Barber's down to 5th. Crawford has got through. He's on a 5-second penalty. Freddie Blackshaw is also on a 5-second penalty. Harris Barber's got a 5-second penalty. Penalties for everybody. in Micromax.
It seems to be the case. We'll leave that for the result sheet coming out about half an hour after this race to be made official. Meanwhile, very much at the front of this race, Alfie Garrett and Lewis Kirkcaldy, they don't appear on the penalty board whatsoever. And these two will race towards the last lap board into turn one. Garrett, he knows he's on the penultimate lap. He knows he's got one more lap after this one, as does Kirkcaldy. And to think that only a couple of minutes ago, a few laps ago, Alfie Garrett was down to 5th place. And now just plugging away, making his way back through the field. He's into the first of the centres now, David, and then he'll certainly lead Lewis Kirkcaldy out towards the chicane, and he just needs to keep it together and not make any mistakes like we saw earlier.
Absolutely. We were bang on saying that Harris Barber had a problem earlier on. He's peeled off into the pit lane and retirement for Barber, so the early race leader is out of this one. Timer is down to 0 as they head towards the overhead gantry on the start-finish line that will tell them this is the final lap of the Warden Law circuit. Alfie Garrett leads from Lewis Kirkcaldy. There's your top two. And Kirkcaldy's got a 5-second penalty as well.
Incredible. Kirkcaldy there in second. He is going to end up in 5th place behind Freddie Blackshaw.
But he's down the inside of Alfie Garrett in the dogleg.
Well, he's going to have to pull 5 seconds. I'm not even going to work this out in my head because Freddie Blackshaw's got a 5-second penalty. That was a great move at the dogleg. Superb. I wonder if he's aware he's got a 5-second penalty, because he's really going to have to really pull out all of the stocks here and pull 5 seconds for him to take this win. On the road then, Lewis Kirkcaldy, but really our leader is very much Alfie Garrett, the second kart in that picture, the number 42. He's our winner if it remains the same. Now Garrett only has to stay in the wheel tracks of Kirkcaldy, who will take the checkered flag first, but a 5-second penalty has been applied to the S-plate. Checkered flag flies, and Alfie Garrett's already aware that he is the winner, as through has gone Ethan Lloyd in 3rd place on the road, Sebastian Crawford 4th, Freddie Blackshaw 5th, Hamish Gordon 6th, and then we've got Carter Jackson, and then the rest of the field coming through. However, that is very much a provisional on-the-road call that I've just made there. We have to wait for the results to be published and made official after all of those penalties have been applied.
There's so many penalties there, Joe, that I think you might be 4th and I could be 5th in that one.
Yeah, I think so.